Sheets. Thought I was going to be done with the COVID symptoms, but I was 95% yesterday, or maybe like 96% today. Better, not 100% though. Still testing positive, which that's another story. Um, but definitely feel better. Definitely on the mend. Definitely happy I got vaccinated and all of that good stuff. Just waiting for Bobby to join in. Then we will start to attack this monster slate. And there he is. Oh, what's going on, Mr. Professor Firestone?
What's up, man? How you feeling?
I had a couple of sneezes a little earlier. Unfortunately, we still where's that thing? Hold on a minute. Fortunately, you're still positive. Can't quite see that, but second line over there, it sort of looks like. But definitely symptoms are subsiding. Definitely on the right path. Hopefully by tomorrow, that'll be the end of the symptom part of it. Then comes the CDC testing / tap dance, which
Yep.
It's basically your own interpretation of what's required versus what are guidelines. Anyways, Mrs. Sheets is negative still, which is excellent news. So we're going to err on the side of caution with respect to the post symptom contact. Hopefully, get her completely in the clear. And yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. So this slate here. I'm sure we'll hear about more news.
What's coming? I want to know what's coming because I don't know. Because I don't know. You know what I can tell you? I can tell you that Eric Gordon is available.
Yeah, that part we know.
I can tell you that Danny Green is starting. I can tell you that Jordan Nwora is ruled out. And LaMarcus Aldridge is out. And of course, the big news that we've all been waiting for is that John Teske has signed a 10-day deal with the Grizzlies. So Maxey and Thibault are out.
Yep.
And they've signed former St. Joe star Charlie Brown Jr. to a hardship deal.
There you go.
So if that's the only news we get, I can live with all that. I can process the John Teske situation pretty handily.
Yep.
But the stuff that we don't know about, that's going to separate the six-figure people from the rest of them.
Yep. I wish my spend ups, not necessarily big risk, but big. Well, I think it is actually a risk. I mean, I think Luka's going to have no ownership, and I get it. I mean, he was tired yesterday. It's a back-to-back. It feels weird, but I'm interested in the price and the ownership with no Porzingis in a game that should be tough. I feel like everything could run through him, so that's one thing I'm doing. I'm also very interested in Jokic on the other side of that game. So my spend ups are probably going to be a little bit off the board, but my regular plays are probably pretty much in lockstep with what everyone else is doing. I also really like Ja Morant, and then the chalky one who I will have some of is James Harden. I might switch over to some Durant, but I honestly don't need to if I'm going to be playing so many other guys who are going to be lowish owned.
You're not on the Bradley Beal, huh?
It's fine.
Okay.
I mean, so Bradley Beal versus Luka is a funny thing to say out loud. Bradley Beal I expect to be very popular. Oddly enough, the most popular of all these guys. I think there's plenty of ways for him to have a good game and still put up 55. And I think the other guys can put up 70 a lot more likely than he can.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just where I'm at. And I wanted to get a little off the board with something because I am going to be playing. I'm not doing this weird thing where I'm going to say, look, I've got a couple non-Simons lineups where I can play Shake Milton, do some other kinds of builds. But I would rather play the guys who I feel the best about who are going to get minutes as the value plays, and those being Simons, Tice, Marcus Morris, which feels more like a cashy kind of play, but I'd still like that spot. I think Norman Powell is a little bit like, I think that he's another one that could have a good game and put up 35, and he could have a bad game and put up 30. Now the matchup's great, but if you're playing 6,500, we want to have the upside of 45 or 50, and he has it. But it would take a lot of things to go his way, and it's not like they don't have other usage guys on the team. Where I'm really cramming in some spend ups, I'm playing some TLC, Luau Cabrera. For those of you who are new to this, I am going to force in a little bit of Shake Milton and Furkan Korkmaz. I'm looking at my other lineups. I'm going to be playing a little bit of this, which feels, again, some of these plays feel kind of thin, but I'm going to take some shots on Okongwu, and I'm going to take some shots on Amir Coffey. The minutes for Coffey have been there. He can be productive enough, and he's got a pretty decent assist rate, and he's 4,300. It sort of fits in. I prefer Little, but I can't quite get to him in some of my lineups, so I ended up with a little bit more Coffey than I thought I would. And then I also like Beverly at 5,200 as one of my other mainstays, along with Naz Reid. But I'm treating those late games as placeholders for right now. But I love the idea of playing, like, what is Naz Reid going to be owned tonight? Let me just see what they've got projected.
I have him at 25%.
Wow, that's a lot higher than I have him at, and also higher than I think he will be owned. If that's the case, then you probably shouldn't be playing Naz Reid, because it's basically a flip a coin for what kind of game he has. And even if he has a decent game, he doesn't need to play a ton of minutes. He did play 30 minutes last night. That could be a thing, something against him or for him, depending on how you look at it. So Naz Reid versus Nasir Little is an interesting debate then, because Nasir Little, I'm going to guess you have at much lower ownership.
Well, I was comparing him more to Tice. Yeah, I only have Nasir
price
Little.
wise.
I only have Nasir Little at like 12%.
Yeah, price wise though, they're the same price-ish.
Right.
And why wouldn't we play Little? Just because in the blowouts he didn't play minutes? That's not a good reason. And he also is not, coming off of a back-to-back. They've had a couple days. They had a couple blowouts in a row. And before that, he put up 48 in the previous game.
All right, so I got one for you.
Okay.
I got a couple of more value guys. One I spoke about a couple of times when we did. I'll get to it in a second, but first of all, what do you think about Brandon Clarke?
As a pivot off of Tice, I threw it into one lineup. It's a lot thinner than the Tice play, in my opinion. I mean, what are they going to do? It just all that question brings up to me is what about the Tice thing? You know what I mean? Like Brandon Clarke could play like 12 minutes tonight. Tice, how can he not play minutes? Assuming that he is in fact starting, they don't do anything weird. I really like Jashawn Tate, by the way, too, who no one's talking about. And without these guys in the past, we've seen Jashawn Tate hit mid-60s before. You know what I mean? We've seen him really put up a number. But Tice.
But I'm going to tell you who I'm playing. This is the guy we brought up earlier, and I'm not getting any ownership on him yet, as you predicted. But I'm going to be playing Mr. Kleber for Dallas. So that's the end of that. That's going to be my anti-Tice play.
Okay.
That's going to be the way it is.
I have been basically the same kind of a play. I don't think there's a big difference between Kleber and I don't think there's a big difference between Kleber and Clarke for me.
Except Kleber's almost definitely get minutes, no?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he could be. I've got him projected at 24 minutes. I mean, it's not like they don't have other people. Think oh, well, no Porzingis, they're going to need side. Well, Porzingis is their 4.
Right.
Kleber, Dwight Powell. Who might be in play tonight? If it was still Rick Carlisle coaching, who would certainly
Boban or Moses?
It would be Boban. if Rick Carlisle was still coaching, he played Boban against Jokic many times, and we've seen him have like 40 plus fantasy point games against him. We just don't see that with Kidd ever. So, but that's too bad because that's another guy who played. I mean, people are like, oh, they're gonna need size, so you need Kleber, but like they have Moses Brown, Boban, Dwight Powell, Marquise Chris, and Kleber all to fit like 1.25 positions because they don't really need to play any of them. So I don't know. That's a lot of
DFS Wolfpack is asking if Middleton is out. I didn't even know Middleton was.
He's questionable.
Was questionable. Oh, okay. How about some other values that we talked about a couple of times in the live in the early thing? One is Josh Christopher, and the other I'll give it to you. Give you a couple together. Josh Christopher, Nicole Alexander-Walker, and Killian Tilly.
Tilly's cheap enough where it's viable. I feel like Houston's being a little underprojected. I was sort of surprised not to see more Christopher. Like when I was kept just, going through my numbers and all the things. And it's like his minutes never really changed. And they just think everybody's going to play, X number of minutes tonight and nobody's going to play a bunch of them for Houston. It could be there, but they're going to play. We know they're going to play Garrison Matthews minutes, so there's 28 probably. They're going to play Jalen Green probably 28 to 32. They're going to play Augustine some minutes. They're going to play Nwaba. They're going to play Gordon. So they have a lot of bodies. That's sort of why I ended up sort of steering away from a guy who I thought I was going to end up liking. What's weird is though, I feel like for all the Houston guys in my list, the projections never changed. And that doesn't feel right without your two highest usage players in Porter and Wood.
Wow, this is some big news actually coming across here from Mylan Griff. He's saying Nurkic is expected to play.
Well, that is big news if that's true. I have no news on that myself.
Let's get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, here while you do a quick search.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. That's it right there. It says Trailblazers center Yusuf Nurkic has cleared health and safety protocol. Sources, PCR tell me. Oh, this is from him. I'm expecting to play Monday night against Atlanta.
Well, that is kind of interesting. He's not an ideal price and not a good matchup for him, especially for a guy who is. I mean, I've got him as doubtful. That's weird.
This is so funny. It's like right. I don't know what this is. Maybe this is fake.
Well, hold on. Let's think.
I don't know. Is this his actual account? It says official Twitter profile. I don't know.
Well, that doesn't mean that what he says doesn't really matter to us.
I think it might.
Okay, maybe a little bit. Maybe more on FanDuel. Maybe more as if you want to get off Simon. I'm trying to understand the exact logic because I've heard a lot of people talking today about not playing Simons. And I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get into 777 and he's going to be 85% owned. And everybody's like, all these numbers about these projections, whenever somebody's projected to be 50, they're 85%.
Oh, 100. Oh, he's going to. I have him at 45 already.
You have him at Simons?
Yeah.
Only at 45%?
Well, but that's going to be in like the lottery. He's going to be 70% in your thing.
I don't know. I do like Embiid on FanDuel.
Wait a minute. How much can you project the guy being owned? I mean, he's a $4,100 guard. I mean, like, you really think he's going to be higher than that?
I don't see how he can't be owned more than that.
Okay. All right.
Well, no, I'm thinking about it. Like, what is the exact route here? It's no Dame, and people keep saying, "Oh, but we've seen this before without Dame and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, but what about no Dame and no CJ? There's a big difference." Could Ben McLemore get hot? Could they get smoked? Those are all possibilities. But even if Ben McLemore gets hot, I don't think that he's the guy who comes off the court. It's hard for me to make a lot of sense of where he doesn't have like his median projection that I'm showing is 30 fantasy points.
That's what I have, 29 and a half, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's legitimate. And not to mention you have the best matchup in sports right now and against the worst defensive team. So
what, they're playing the Lakers tonight?
Hey, don't the Lakers, believe it or not, have been better than Atlanta.
That's true. That's true.
The Lakers have all the excuses and everybody wants to blame everybody, but Why aren't people holding the fire like under Atlanta and Philadelphia and these other teams that are under 500?
Because Atlanta's not the freaking Lakers, dude. Lakers, they
Atlanta was in the conference finals last year, and I know they've had a few COVID things, but they have like they go like 19 deep. They are incredibly deep.
but how long you been a Laker fan? You know how it goes. The Lakers always get extra scrutiny, you know?
Oh no, I know it's crazy. It's just irritating to me because it's Westbrook mostly who gets all the blame and none of the credit ever. All right, so let's see. I'm going to take a quick look and see if there's some. I like the Wendell Carter call, MJ Grant, and
I'm into that a little bit.
He did go nuts the last time they played him. Like I think he put up like 60 or something. I don't know exactly what that is. I do like the Carter play, but again, it's just a matter of how you prioritize. I have him behind another guy who I really like tonight, and I know the numbers recently may not have everybody quite as excited, and it's a back-to-back for a jump shooter and all the things. I think Anthony Edwards is a phenomenal.
Oh, I thought you were going to go to Terrence Ross. Okay, yeah, Edwards for sure.
Yeah, I just no, but nobody's playing him.
Yeah, I know. I saw that
because he had a couple down games, and I'm just like, okay, I'll be the guy who does then. I could see 60 out of that guy. But I like Carter too.
I've got a better idea. How about this? How about I take this is like an industry median projection of 37.75. How about I just go over that for anybody who made this projection in the industry and they want to give me under 37.5?
For what? For who?
Anthony Edwards fantasy points.
Yeah, I'll take the over on that all day.
Right?
And it's going to be wrong sometimes, and when it's right, it's going to be like. But what's crazy is when it's right, it could be almost double.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be right a majority of
Hey, another value guy that we didn't talk about. I didn't. In this one is what do you think of Serge?
Not much.
Okay.
I like that he plays in the late game. They seem very reluctant to give him minutes. To give him minutes as a team that you don't need to play with size doesn't make as much sense to me. So a little bit lower on him. I don't mind if you want to throw him in, but I just don't think it's like. I mean, Tice should play maybe 10 more minutes, and is probably a better fantasy point per minute producer, actually.
Hey, just for the people that are maybe here for the first time or whatever, for those of us that always need to kind of go back to fundamentals, you mentioned earlier that when you brought up Marcus Morris, that he seems like more of a cash play. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like, what do you mean by that?
I mean that there's not like there is room at 6K for him, but it's pretty rare that he's going to put up 50 fantasy points in a game. So he feels like more of a guy who's 6K, who's going to get you like 35 more often than not here. Not so often 45 to 50 plus. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Even look at his even when he's had these spots before, he's been really good. 40 fantasy points is fine. We'll take that. But there's other guys who are going to be able to put up some real numbers. Like I prefer Morris over Powell, but I think they're both good play. Like they're both good plays, but they're both cashy plays to me. Because
I have another play I want to bring up again that we kind of stumbled on earlier. If you don't want to pay down for these centers, right, and then you don't want to pay up, how about going to Daniel Gafford at 6K?
He's one of my highest owned players, so I love him.
Well, there you have it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all over it. I think the ownership is actually too low, and I think he's a really, really, really strong play. I actually think if we needed to, you could consider Plumlee on the other side. I just don't think you need to go that route tonight, but I think that's even viable. I wish I liked more. I mean, LaMelo could have a big game and all that, but I just think I like the other spend ups better. But I you could make a Beal, Gafford, even KCP kind of a lineup and then run it back with LaMelo, and I think that's very viable.
Right.
Beal on FanDuel is a lot harder for me to fade. I do want to answer some questions real quick.
Yeah, I want to answer a question right now, if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
So Kevin comes in. This is a question I really want to deal with. Kevin is asking, is Reed, Edwards, and Beverly too many Minnesota guys? And I'm the person asking this. Is I like to play quote unquote too many guys. And I have to say that in this particular case, I think there are not too many. And the reason why is that they each kind of take on separate roles. Beverly's going to get the assists, okay? Edwards is going to get the shots, and Reed is going to get the stuff inside, okay? And so that's why I think that in this particular case, those three do not, negatively correlate. So that's fine. But what you're worried about though, is that it's a zillion game slate, right? So what are you giving up by playing all three of those guys? But I actually like that. I might actually do something like that myself.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I separated Beverly and Edwards just because I had the option to, but I don't mind them together. I do think if you get Naz Reid in there also, then maybe you might be asking for a little trouble unless you're not playing at least one clip or maybe two,
Okay.
and counting on the game staying really close and all that stuff. I do want there's some good questions to address in here, and people always have different opinions. I'm always shocked at what they come up with, but sometimes there's some merit there. Thoughts on Herbert Jones? Zero interest in Herbert Jones for me. I don't find my. You know what? Let me rephrase that. Herbert Jones is viable, but no more so. Like, there's a lot of guys who stand out tonight. He is absolutely not one of them. Bad matchup, bad situation. If Ingram is out, maybe you get him a little bit of a boost. He has been really good per minute, and he's a rookie, so maybe trying to catch him on the upswing, which is what we've been talking about, Herb Jones. But at 46, I feel like there's so many other guys who are getting the boost tonight that he's not getting. But I think that's an interesting tournament play just for that reason, like trying to catch the rookie on the upside, especially if there's no Ingram. So that's where my thoughts are on him. Does my opinion of Tice change if Brandon Clarke starts? And I would like to understand why in the world Brandon Clarke would start.
And what matter? I mean,
it does matter, but who is he starting over? He's going to
why
start.
Would it matter though for Tice?
Steven Adams?
Why would it matter for Tice though?
No, it's asking if I would rather play Brandon Clarke if he started
over Tice. I thought you meant like as a matchup.
I just don't see any reason why he would start. They're really going to bench Jaren Jackson or Steven Adams. No way. So I mean, yeah, it would be interesting to me, but I can't see a world where that would happen. I guess they could start him at the 3, but that just is not the way they do things. So that would be weird if they did start him at the 3. But it's possible. We've seen weird things before. Does Milton start? I don't like answering questions about who's going to start in the modern day NBA because we're really speculating. Pretty much every situation is different. Nobody's more so than the Lakers. Nobody's had more different lineups than the Lakers. So believe me, I understand this. You're going to see different guys starting all the time, and it doesn't, So trying to predict whether or not Shake Milton would start is pointless because it's the first game. But my guess would be that no, he wouldn't start. I don't.
Kevin Wise is feeling it. This is another really good question. He just came in with. Does Nurkic starting kind of impact how you might feel about playing Nasir Little?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely less interested in Nasir Little. I still have interest in Little. Don't get me wrong, but definitely lowers my interest for sure.
Well, DFS Wolpass coming in with a take. I'm not too interested in. So not for too interested. I'm interested in it. I just disagree with it. Saying Middleton is in, there goes my Giannis interest. I don't think that makes too much of a difference. I think if anything, it makes a difference and it makes a blowout a little more likely. So it becomes a little less likely that Giannis can get a ceiling because of the minutes. But I don't think Middleton being in particularly, that in and of itself wouldn't sway me off of Giannis.
Yeah, Giannis is Giannis is Giannis. You know what I mean? There's nothing. That's what Giannis is. Jokic is Jokic, and we can always play these guys. So they're good plays either way. That game staying close, I have some real doubts about it. However, you are getting, basically Detroit's, best punch we've seen from them in a while. They've got some guys, and Giannis is going to be low owned as well. So I think that's Giannis is still viable. I think it knocks him down a little bit, but I don't think it's anything too substantial personally. If he was out, it just means Giannis would be higher owned. So you're actually probably in a better spot. Top 3 pay up options. I went through all my options. So if you want that again, I can go through that again. Favorite spend down for center, Tice. Gafford is a mid range. That's pretty much all my centers are taken up by Jokic, Gafford, and some Embiids, and then Tice. But that's where I'm at. The other ones that I'm looking at, there's another play that I was trying to research when I got distracted here. What was the one I was looking at? Yeah, I do think that everybody on Portland gets a little bit of a knockdown, especially Norman Powell. I still think Simons is a great play. And I think Nurkic is in play on FanDuel. I don't think I would play him on DraftKings.
Oh, okay.
Tough matchup too. I mean, it's no fun playing against Capella if you're not a shooter. I do still like Embiid on FanDuel to answer that one. Trey Lyles, I didn't think that was even like, I don't know. I looked at a lot of stuff today, and I guess look, if Trey Lyles starts, you could reach for him. He did put up 50, in the last game. I don't see why he would with everybody back. They've got more bodies than I've ever seen a team have like tonight. So I would imagine they'd start Garza. But if Lyles does start, that is a sneaky good play. That's what I would say. And if he doesn't start, if you want to take a shot in the lottery, that's a fine thing to do. But like Josh Jackson's back now. Killian Hayes is back now. Cade Cunningham's back now. Everybody's back except for they're big, but they don't need to play big against Milwaukee. So maybe that actually leaves Lyles ahead of Garza if he does get the run. I mean, there's a chance there. I think there's a potential there for him, but there's also a potential he might play 10 minutes. And there's a potential that he might play like 6 minutes. And both he and Garza have been kind of crushing at different points. I think I guess answer the Trey Lyles one. Favorite center on FanDuel to answer K9's question earlier. That was what I was going for. I like the idea of trying to get a little bit different. So Tice, you can play a power forward. I think Naz Reid is still viable at center at 4.6. I like Gafford. I like Wendell, and I like Embiid. I also am really just continually stunned when I see this Jokic ownership. I for the life of me, I can't quite get my head around it. On FanDuel, I would say that based on the ownership, I think Jokic might be the better play. You're talking about a blowout where he scored 40, scored 60 the previous, 59 the previous one, 72 before. I really don't understand where this Jokic projection and therefore ownership is coming from. It doesn't make sense to me, especially against a Dallas team that, again, cannot, like, they have all these tall guys, but they don't have, none of these guys are good enough to actually defend Jokic. Their best bet would be playing Boban.
Right.
I am on coffee a little bit. I think that it's viable enough, and most importantly, it's a placeholder and allows me. I'm trying to get 4 to 5 guys on my lineups from the late games at least. So that keeps me on guys like coffee a little bit longer. On FanDuel, it's. I think you really want to stack up this Atlanta Portland game. I'm sorry. I think you want Trae Young, and then you want to play, Simons, Powell. Even Powell still over there at 6K is very reasonable. Smith, and there you go from there. Tobias Harris's price is lovely. And then you could play a little bit of the Houston stuff with Tate and Tice and stuff like that. Bradley Beal also a really good play over there. But it feels wrong to play LaMelo ahead of Trae. That's the only thing I ran into over there that was not getting me to that full stack.
LaMelo's cheaper, right? I mean,
And Jack Cornelius is pointing out that last time Jokic had 66 fantasy points versus the same team he's facing tonight, and it's not like Porzingis guards him, so what do we really care? I actually that was my buzzer. I probably have to go and finish building. Guys,
I currently, by the way, I still have 100 of Simons after all that. I don't know if Nurkic playing is going to affect that.
I mean, we've seen him dud out games, but I don't know, man. It just feels like kind of an easy spot. Whereas I think that you're going to get some ownership on Shake as well, and that's much thinner. Like, Shake doesn't have to do anything offensively with the other guys in that team. Now he could, doesn't mean he won't. Just doesn't have to. And I currently don't think he's going to start. I actually like the idea of playing Korkmaz, assuming that he actually starts against a sloppy Houston team, and he's 3.3K. So you get a little discount, and he also has forward eligibility because the guards are stronger than the forwards are today, for the most part. Not entirely true, but for the most part, that's the case. And the guy who I don't think anybody's going to play is Seth Curry, but he always seems to put up like 40 fantasy points in these spots. So for what it is. Beal Harden, very popular. What about Luka Jokic? That's what I'm doing. I've got a Luka Jokic lineup, and I'm feeling a lot worse about the Luka play than I am about the Jokic play. I feel nervous about that one. I don't understand the ownership on Jokic. I don't think it's accurate. I think the higher buy-ins you're going to see significantly, which still might just be 10%. But I think you'll see a lot more people who are sharp playing the Jokic in this spot. And I think you'll see them mixing in the other guys. And look, we have both guys healthy in Brooklyn. It is a great matchup for them. But there's no reason that Harden needs to outscore Jokic, Giannis, all these guys that we can play instead. It's a better correlation, but then you can play Ja on the other side at low ownership if you are. So that's what I'm doing. That's like my way of playing these things is like take Harden, and if I'm going to play him with the other low owned spend ups, but especially with Ja, because then you get the back and forth in the game. You never know. Look, 5% of games go to overtime. If you get that, you're crushing because those guys will probably both put up, I don't know, 7 times their value at a high price, which is just way better than 10 times at a low price. So that's the way I'm approaching this.
What do you think of what we talked about earlier about playing any Durant?
I think it's fine. It just why wouldn't we just play the other guys who are lower owned and are much more the focal points of their offense than Durant is?
Oh, you think he's going to be owned?
Yeah, I mean he's going to be. I have him projected at 10%, and I have the other guys
Right.
like 4 or 5%.
Right.
So all those are probably a little bit off because there's more value opening up by the minute, probably, kind of.
Yeah.
But I would rather play Jokic at a little bit of a higher price. I would rather play. I mean, I do like Harden better, but I think it's completely viable. I guess you know what? He's probably actually going to end up in the same range as those other guys. Completely viable. But when you think about Durant versus all of these other guys, he doesn't need to do everything on the court, especially with Harden there. Where you could even argue that Bradley Beal does, who's also going to be really popular, or who actually is going to be really popular. But I think Giannis, Morant, and Jokic especially are the guys you can spend up on to get away from those guys. And you could throw Trae Young in that mix as well. Hassan Whiteside is out today. Kind of mildly.
What does that do?
Gobert more viable. That's it.
Okay.
But I don't know.
What about, by the way, Jaren Jackson from that Memphis game?
It's a good matchup. I'm not finding any need to play him, but it's a good matchup. All right. I think I'm going to jump and finish my build because I am not done yet. But I will be in Discord as usual. The balling thing, the hot thing is not a real thing. They were balling because there was no Cade Cunningham and Killian Hayes. And no front court. They literally got back 4 players today. So I as much as I like Diallo and all that, that doesn't mean really anything to me. When somebody says a guy's hot lately, it really, really means almost nothing in the modern day NBA. Yeah, it's especially when you literally bring a whole new team of players in the next day. So I think every mistake, and I'll just say it strategically, I think every play on Detroit would be a mathematical mistake, with the possible exception of the Lyles or Garza, and even that feels really thin to me. Could Diallo do it again? Why? I mean, if you're going to play Diallo, play Cade Cunningham. Like, I don't know.
Right.
It's just the offense was running through him. So that's where I'm at. But I'm going to jump in and finish my builds. Good luck to everybody. Again, I'll be in Discord if anything comes up. And go ahead and hit me up and just at me, and I'll try to get to any questions I can. Good luck to everybody tonight. Good luck, Sheets. I hope you feel better. Hopefully tomorrow there's the negative tests, and hopefully tonight somebody from True DFS wins 6 figures. So good luck, everybody.
That would be nice. All right, so I'm gonna stick here for a little bit. I do want to put these guys off until later games if possible, because of the I want to make sure Nurkic is playing. I want to see what's going on with that, and I do want to update projections a little bit for the Norman Powell stuff, because I agree. I think it hurts Norman Powell a little bit. I do have one lineup with with Terrence Ross in it, in a big lineup. I just feel as though he's getting 30 plus minutes. It's going to be good. Let me see if I can't find you guys in the browser, and then what I'll do is I'm going to go over what I'm doing in football too. Oh, here you are. I actually am, just so you guys know, in football, I'm doing exactly what I said I was going to do in my in the earlier video. and it's going to be probably pretty contrarian. But yeah, Dennis Smith Jr. Not so much on DraftKings, I don't think, but on FanDuel, I'm probably going to get a lot of him. I have to redo my FanDuel builds, like right now, actually. But in the football game, I'm kind of the Grinch that stole narrative today in that game. I mean, I've just you know what? I'm turning 55 in 8 days, and I've just seen a lot, and seen a lot of must-win teams not win. I've seen a lot of stuff happen, and all I'm hearing all day long is how the fans are going to be rocking in Pittsburgh in the must-win game on Monday Night Football, the terrible towels and all this stuff, and it's going to be Big Ben's last home game. For a competitive guy like that, he's going to be super duper pumped. Cleveland is awful. They have just nothing to play for, and yet the line is only Pittsburgh -3. I've just seen too many things like this before. I think Cleveland just dusts them. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know who. But I just know it's going to happen. And while everybody's going to want to see Big Ben with one big more push to whatever, I think it's just going to go the opposite way. I think he's going to have a terrible game. And I'm playing a bunch of Clevelands with probably only one Pittsburgh on the other side. That's just the take that I am living with. And yeah. So I'm going to redo my FanDuel build so you can see what I'm doing. I'm on a little bit of tilt on FanDuel. I miss getting into the bigger buy-in, so I'm going to be I'm going to play like 100 lineups in the small one. And so I'm just MMEing there. And then what I'm going to do, like for now, is I'm going to force in some Nurkic for now, and we'll see if I can't. Let's see, Nurkic. He's not even in my player pool yet, but I will change it. But I do like a lot of Dennis Smith Jr. I have like 88% Dennis Smith Jr. on FanDuel, for whatever that's worth. So you would think I should probably want more on DraftKings, but that's just not the way it's happening. So I'm gonna change my FanDuel lineups, and I probably should get some Dennis. But you know what I could do? I could always do that later. You know, I got a lot of stuff going on in late games, and I could always swap from Simons to Smith Jr., for example. I'm going to fix this, and I'm going to take a couple more questions. Let's see if there's any more in there. Boom. Boom. Okay. 100 lineups to that is successful. Okay, I need 12 points from Chubb to win my league championship. Dude, if you can't get 12 points out of Chubb, you just deserve to lose, right? I guess that's the bottom line. I mean, if they told you at the beginning of the season that all you need is 12, you're going to be in the finals with 12 points from Chubb, you'd sign on for that, right? In cash, there's no way around Harden and Beal. They're pretty hot. Yeah, I suppose. Let me see, by the way, just for fun, what a stone cold optimal would be, like a cash lineup, given my projections as of now. Am I allowed to do that? No. Let them yell at me. So this is using the optimizer that's right on TrueDFS. This is taking the projections as of now, which are probably going to change. Just the one top lineup like what just the stone optimal would be for a cash line. Let me see what it would look like. This would be that yeah, there it is. It's Harden and Beal. All basically the chalky plays. Ooh, it does get in Daniel Gafford, which is interesting. Interesting indeed. I don't like that, Cornelius, because of them getting back. What's his name? They were balling without Cade Cunningham, and I think that Cunningham back is going to take that usage back from him. And they got the and they got price bumps. So for me, that would not be a way to go for me, at least. Not to mention they're going to get waxed. Let me see what I have as far as. I'm going to do one more build. DraftKings here. Oh, I do have to do another one, don't I? Okay. So let's didn't even realize it. All right, so let's put this in. So Hassan Whiteside is out. Tyrese Maxey was out. Saw that. And let's see what this build looks like. I'm going to actually, I'll tell you what I have as far as my, you see here on FanDuel what I have. That's my whatchamacallit, it's my ownerships over there. Only 33% Tice. Put a lot of Naz Reid on the on DraftKings. I don't like this. I want to make it a little more. I want to fade ownership a little more here. So let's do this. So what I did was I randomized it a little bit more because whenever you get like your optimal cash lineup in your GPPs, it's probably, I know it's tempting to do it, but I wouldn't do it. I mean, it seems really counterintuitive, right? Like the best plays are just not going to be. Okay, so here's a guy I'm getting in this. Like you mentioned Sadiq Bey or whatever it is. I got a couple. I got a lineup with Saban Lee, like for example, and that could be fun. And like a Jordan Poole, stuff like that. Just stuff that you wouldn't imagine you'd get. And that's how you have to play, unfortunately, these big lottery tournaments. So as a matter of fact, let's change these lineups now. 43, plenty of time at least. I also played the $3 20 max over there. So let's this is what we're gonna do. So there are 20 max. So let's make sure we get this 1, 2, 4. So we need 16 more. So these guys. Well, actually, these are dupes, so we need 17 more. Right, these guys are duped. Yeah, these are dupes. So do that. We need another one, actually. So this one, too. And then basically, let's just copy the same ones in the 4 and put them in here. Now we should be good. And I got to worry about the Nurkic thing a little bit later, don't I? Um, Morant. What's wrong with this one? This is the mid-range single jumper. All right, let's put that one in there. Contest is full. Well, I don't want that to cash and me not have it. So why don't I, let's, no, I'm officially talking to myself, which is what I always do at the end of these things anyway. So Beverly Edwards, it's fine. This is Durant, so I got to put this Durant one in here. Mellow. What was that Edwards and Beverly one? Edwards, Beverly, and Reed, because I wanted to do that. Okay, that's fine. Let's see what these lineups would look like. If I locked in Edwards, Beverly, and Reed, and Morris. I definitely want to do that. Just one or two. So let's do this. Let's go Edwards, boom, Beverly, boom, Reed, boom, Morris, boom. I'm gonna build, I don't know, yeah, 20 lineups. Why not? Can't show you what it turns out to be, but that's what I'm doing. Get a couple of builds like that. It's a good stack over there. There's no other Clipper though. Play Surge. Certainly do that. It's a little, might be a little fishy. I don't want the 642. I want the 648 build. Couple of surges. Looks pretty good. There's no other Clippers to play, right, except for Morris. Who else am I supposed to play on the Clippers? Let's first of all, let's take these 5 lineups. This one gets Wendell Carter Jr. too. And Gafford. I don't want KCP though. Let's get rid of him. Yeah, this looks good. Get a Jokic. All right, let's take these. Boy, I think I'm gonna like this. If I win this, whatever your name is, Kevin Wise will send you a tip. You got me thinking about this a little more. So this is going to go. I'm going to swap this one up over here. I'm going to swap this one over here. And we're going to go these 4, these 5 over here. Just like this. And this over here. Good. Now I'm probably going to have a decent amount of Edwards, which I'd like. Take a look at that. I do have a decent amount of Edwards. Including in that one. Wendell Carter Jr. What if I played Gafford instead, though? If I went to Gafford instead of Wendell Carter Jr., gives me 1,400. But I like everything else. So we'll do it. We'll do Wendell Carter Jr. All right, let's do it. Well, I don't know. If I go down to Gafford, let's say I put Reed here at center instead of all these guys. What does that get me at forward? So I don't have to play Wendell Carter Jr. That it really wants me to play Wendell Carter Jr. That's the problem. Okay. How bad of a play is Wendell Carter Jr. on DraftKings? I just want to check, make sure it's not awful. I mean, it's fine. It's not the greatest. It's not the worst, though. He's around here, right? Yeah. I got to really think about this. I got 5 minutes because that one. Actually, I don't only have 5 minutes in that one. Or do I? Yeah, Orlando's at Chicago. That's at 8, right? So I have a little bit of time on that one. Maybe I'll think about that a little bit more. Redo my projections and see what's up. So right now I have Wendell Carter Jr. in this big buy-in, but I may change that. I can't play Gafford and just eat the raw points in case Gafford doesn't. Gafford is early, so that's a negative. Okay, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to hold off on that. We're just going to play Orlando, play Carter for now, see what else is going on, then maybe I'll come back a little later. All right, perfect. Okay. All right, let me get back and see if anybody's still around. And then I'll get some questions. Let's see. Yeah, sorry, JJ. I can't get you too many hoodoos for Showdown. I tried. You know the one guy? Yeah, KJ Martin. I was thinking about that. I was definitely thinking about that. That as a pivot off of what's his name. Not, but you can play him maybe along with KJ with Tice too. I definitely thought of that. Yeah. So here's a hoodoo that I had in. I had him and then I didn't play him. That's just the best I could do for you as far as my Showdown. There was one guy who I thought you could play. And this is like really super thin. I don't even have him anymore. This is nothing. Gentry, is that a guy? Is that a guy's name? Duke Johnson? No. Duke Johnson, he's not even on that team, right? Isn't Duke Johnson on the Miami? I'm pretty sure. And that would definitely get different. Let me see. There's one guy who I want to say Gentry. Well, you can play Schwartz. That's one thing you could do for Cleveland. The James Washington's going to be chalky, but there's another guy. Not him. Where is he? Not Kalen Blodge. Oh, yeah. Demetric Felton. You want someone who's going to get 0? You can pick him. That's your hoodoo. You could take Demetric Felton as a third-string running back. Zach Gentry was the 800 guy I was looking for, by the way. At 800, Zach Gentry, Cody White, maybe. But yeah, that's the guy, the Demetric Felton. If you want someone who's going to get a 0. No, Felton can't get there. That's why I'm telling you 0. And Dearness Johnson, he's easy. Yeah, people are going to play him. Who needs that? That's for peasants. Felton. As a matter of fact, just as I like to say, just for fun, just for funsies, let's get myself some of these guys. It's stupid, but we're gonna do it anyway. We're not gonna play Dearness Johnson. That's gonna be the fade. Let me see. Dearness Johnson. Let me see what he's doing. I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna get some Felton. I don't know how much Schwartz I have. Let me just see. Oh, Eddie Schwartz. I don't know. We gotta get something. So. I don't know why I'm not even getting him. Maybe we'll, you know what we'll do? Maybe we'll just do this manually. Kicking it old school. Let's go to my lineups. We'll go into showdown mode. And we don't need this freaking kicker, for example. Let's put in a good old Felton. Boom, for 200. Give me Felton for 200, Alex. And then we get one of these. Oh, absolutely. There's a Felton. Now we need a Schwartz, right? Yeah, so let's put Schwartz in instead of James Washington. Leave 1,000 on the table there. That's good. Oh, now you're talking. So glad you made me do this. Now we're going to replace a Ray McLeod with a Schwartz. That one leaves 2,400 on the table. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And then you have Brown's defense we're keeping. Not trimming any of that back. I have so much this Ray McLeod character when I could play Derek Felton. Seriously, what are we thinking? What are we doing here, guys? And then over here we have 17% James Washington. No, let's get rid of more of this kicker. Let's get rid of McLaughlin and we'll replace him with Schwartz. Of course, Schwartz is going to outscore more than McLaughlin, right? Okay. But we're going to leave 2,600 on the table on that one. Do we have enough yet? No, we got to do a couple more. Another McLaughlin for Schwartz. I want to play any of the Dearnest. I guess I can play a little bit. Play a little bit of the Dearnest. Not much. Got to leave like 1,800 on the table in the Dearnest lineups. That's for sure. One more McLaughlin. We'll replace him with Felton. And then that'll be the end of the Felton business, right? And then what we could do is we could take out the Browns defense in this one grudgingly and get up to Landry. So what do I have now? So I have 14% Schwartz, which is fine. That's the same as McLeod. 10% Felton, which is just enough. I don't need more than that. And I think that should do the trick, except do want a little more of the Dearnest where I can afford him. So like all these lineups where I have like McLaughlin, for example, not all of them, but put a couple of Dearnests in. So I have too much of the kicker over here. Let me see. Where is another one where I have the kicker? Here. McLaughlin, can I get the Ernest in this one? Almost. Almost. I got to go to drop down a little bit. So let's drop down from Roethlisberger. No, we can't drop down to Roethlisberger. We have Peoples-Jones and the captain already, so you can't do much about that. Ooh, this is a tough one. Well, instead of Harris, we can go Deontay Johnson. Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. I guess we're good. You got 10% the Ernest. It's plenty. Got 59% Donovan Peoples-Jones, of course. So there we go. So we're in there. Oh, you got plus, oh, at a 6-teamer, you needed 3.5. You got a plus 3.5? May the Schwartz be with you. I love it. Oh my God, a Spaceballs reference. My hero, JJ. Absolutely my hero. I have very little Big Ben. I have 17% of him. And I have 90% Mayfield. Basically, that means I'm going to lose. But at least I'm standing by my take, whatever it is. All right, good luck in your 6-teamer, James. That'd be freaking awesome. Good luck, everybody.